He died from overwork and woke up as a nameless NPC in his favorite game. Armed with every route, secret, and future twist, he becomes way too powerful for a background character. All he wants is a peaceful life, to sit back, stay hidden, and watch the story unfold. But when his favorite heroine notices him, and then another, his quiet life collapses instantly. The strongest mob can't stay in the shadows forever. Maybe he will take the place of the main character? Let's find out. MC's story began in a very interesting way. They were attacked by a monster. Someone shouted that the hero was defeated and that they needed to retreat quickly. The man asked MC if he was going to die. MC replied that they hadn't reached the main story yet. So what? He wondered what the gate guard was doing here. He asked, does that count? He attacked the monster with his sword. This is Brave of Asterisk, a world based on an RPG also known as Braz. In it, the player takes on the role of a hero and fights demons. It also features an academy where you can bond with your comrades and even start relationships. This is the game he loved before being reincarnated. That's right, he was reincarnated in another world. A typical time traveler who died from overworking for a black company. Luckily, he ended up in his beloved world of Braz, and now he serves as a gate guard in the royal capital of Zelencia. Modi called MC. He asked him, what's wrong? Modi replied that it was time for the shift change. He wondered if he'd fallen asleep. MC replied positively. They walked away from the gate, and the man said he could go to the market. Silver thought it was a shame he wasn't the main character, but that wasn't a bad thing. A gatekeeper gets paid even if he just stands there doing nothing. He turned to the shopkeeper and told him he was getting the same as usual. He continued to think that compared to how hard he'd had to work at his previous job in his past life, this was pure paradise. The man asked her, oh, come on, this sword suits her perfectly. He'd even give her a discount. The girl replied, but she doesn't even own a sword. MC thought, that's Charles. Charles Orland is one of the key characters. She becomes an ally at the beginning of the game. She's his favorite character. The man told her that this is a sacred sword, blessed by the Spirit King. Even a beginner can quickly become strong. She replied that she understood then. MC thought it was an obvious scam. She shouldn't let him fool her. Although this naivety has its charm, he was surprised. The real Charles was simply incredibly sweet. His death was not in vain. He thanked God for allowing him to be reborn here. He shouted at her to wait. MC turned around and was surprised. Standing in front of him was Alan, who said that it was a fake. MC thought that the hero Alan was the main character of Braz, the so-called player avatar. Looking at it from the outside, he feels like some kind of idiot. It turns out that with this development, Charles will become Alan's lover. Alan took her hand and said that it was time for them to collect herbs. He would walk her to the exit of the castle. Charles replied, okay. Silver, standing to the side, began to cry. The man turned to him and told him not to take his words seriously. He would give him a good discount. With this sword, even a commoner can become a hero. MC was surprised. He answered negatively and thanked him. He said that he was a simple guard. An ordinary sword was enough for him, so he should sell it to someone else. The seller said it was weird. MC thought he wasn't a hero, just an extra. Before his reincarnation, when he was busy with work, his only pleasure was playing games. Charles was his favorite character, but all the others were very charismatic, and the plot was simply magnificent. If everything went according to plan, Allah and his comrades would save humanity from the demon threat and bring peace. He wanted to see this amazing plot in person. But this was a world where demons attacked people, and to survive, they needed to become stronger. So he decided to use his knowledge of games from his past life. His style was to maximize his leveling at the beginning and progress effectively through the story. Using this knowledge, he trained for years with characters suitable for leveling up, and he maximized their stats. However, he didn't aim to become the main character. He was a stickler for canon, and he wouldn't allow anyone, not even himself, to change the original. He was content to simply watch from afar. MC returned to his post. The guard told him that he was back. Silver replied that he was so happy to see them in person. MC beamed with happiness. The guard thought, who is he talking about? He doesn't quite understand, but oh well, they'll forget. He has a more interesting topic. How about a drink after his shift? Silver enthusiastically replied that he was all for it. Beer after work is a real thrill. He replied that he was so energetic today. Did something good happen? MC didn't have time to answer before someone called for help. The guard turned around and asked what happened. He saw the guard running away from a demon. He asked, what? A demon? He asked how he ended up in the capital. Silver thought, the day of the fusion. The guard asked him, did he say something? MC replied in the negative. He thought, the day of the fusion, it happened a month before the start of the main storyline, when demons, who usually don't gather together, united and attacked the kingdom. This event didn't lead to any significant resolutions and was stopped by the hero. He shouted at them, why were they frozen? They need to move forward. They responded positively. He told him that they needed to delay it until the hero arrived. Silver thought, a first-level demon? He's not that strong. But that's enough for them. They repelled the demon's attacks. MC thought that an ordinary soldier wouldn't be able to defeat it. He could finish it off easily, but he didn't want that to affect the plot. The demon attacked MC, but he managed to jump back. He kept thinking that he would try to delay it then. Should he just stall for time until the hero showed up? The man rushed forward and shouted, that's it, idiot. The demon wounded him. He cursed. Silver shouted at him. Is he okay? He responded positively and said, just a scratch. He didn't need to worry. MC noticed something and said, damn it, it escaped. He gave chase and yelled at him to stop. How dare he hurt the elder? The elder called him and asked when he became so fast. Charles was sitting on the shore. She picked up her shoes and said, well, she's finished packing. Time to join Alan and the guys. She put her shoes on. A sound came from the bushes and she turned around. She asked, "Who's there?" Silver was running through the bushes and thinking how fast he was. He should have chopped off one of his limbs right away. MC saw her and thought, how did she get here? He needs to calm down. According to the script, she shouldn't die on the day of the merger. Everything will be fine if everything goes according to canon. He saw the demon attacking her. He jumped out of the bushes and yelled at him. Idiot. He shouldn't touch his waifu. He attacked him with his sword and thought, Zalencia sword art? Spinning top bite. Charles opened her eyes and looked at him. Silver was standing, and next to him lay a dead monster. They locked eyes. MC asked her if she was okay. He didn't hurt her. Does she feel any pain? She answered positively and said that she was fine. Charles apologized to him and asked who he was. Silver was shocked. He thought, oh shit, he ruined everything. He told her that he was a simple guard. She told him that she didn't mean his profession, but his name. He should tell her his name. He looked at her and said that he was Silver. Charles thanked him. MC thought she was cute. From that day on, his life changed dramatically. Silver thought he ran into Charles. He remembered telling her that he had a mission. She asked him what? He should wait. He thought that killing demons could affect the plot, but in that situation, there was no other choice. The elder called him. He said that the first commander of the Holy Knights was calling him. He needed to go to their headquarters immediately. MC asked, Commander? The elder told him he didn't know what he'd done, but he'd collect his remains. Silver replied, don't tempt fate. The elder laughed and said, oh, come on. However, the commander of the Holy Knights is known for her strictness. He hoped he'd just be scolded. The headquarters of the Order of the Holy Knights. The guard told him his identity had been confirmed, and he could pass. MC walked through the gate and thought he'd like to avoid meeting her as much as possible. She stood in front of the window, looking at a piece of paper, then noticed MC. She was very happy about it. The doors opened for the protagonist, and the guard told him he could enter. She thanked him for coming. He thought, glistening silver hair, eyes like the deep blue sea, and to top it all off, breasts, some of the largest in this world. The first commander of the Holy Knights, Elda Snow White, a character who can be conquered in bras. He asked her, so, what's the purpose of summoning him? She replied, isn't it obvious? How slow he was. He wondered if Elda knew his true abilities for a reason. If she'd summoned him on purpose, it wouldn't lead to anything good. She asked him, wasn't he the one who defeated that demon? Silver became confused and asked, what was she talking about? Elda replied that she was talking about a recent incident. A demon's body had been found, cut up into pieces. He asked her, what did that have to do with him? She told him that the demon had traces indicating it had been killed with a spinning top bite. Unless you count the hero, only other knight commanders could perform such feats, but there weren't any. So who killed the demon? MC couldn't think of anything to say. She continued, maybe it was time for him to admit it. People with such abilities should serve the country as knights. Silver thought about it, but then he'd have to work. He told her what she'd said. Unless you count the hero? Why did she assume it wasn't him? She turned away from him and said, does she look like a fool? A hero should report his accomplishments, but the killer of that spider demon is still unknown. Come on, he should accept it. Why shouldn't he join the knightly order right now? MC replied that he hadn't given his consent. Elda was surprised and asked him if he still wouldn't admit it. He replied that she should wait. She had no direct evidence. She was upset and asked him why he was so stubbornly refusing. The salary here was higher than that of a guard, and there were many more benefits. He replied, but then he would have to work together with the hero. She answered positively and said that they were obliged to support the hero in protecting the country. MC replied that it wasn't that he disliked working in the order, but getting close to the protagonist wasn't a good idea. She asked him, the protagonist? Silver answered negatively and said, in short, he wasn't going to become a knight. She said, well, she was very sorry. She got up and walked towards him, saying that in a situation like this, she would use dirty methods. MC was surprised. Elda approached him and showed him a piece of paper with an application to join the order written on it. There was a photo of MC on the sheet. He was very surprised and said, that can't be true. He doesn't remember signing it. Elda replied that the order's commander would get away with even a small falsification. Silver, surprised, asked if she'd really gone along with that. She went to the closet and said she was joking. You can't join the order against your will. She tossed him a letter and said, here. He caught it and asked what kind of paper it was. She replied that she wouldn't insist, but would ask for one favor in return. MC unfolded the paper and asked who this guy was. She replied, a candidate for the Rostov order, Bardley Brajo. She wanted to prevent his entry. Silver asked, Bardley, it's quite a prominent family. Is he their son? She answered positively and said, however, this guy is hopeless scum, but she couldn't openly refuse him. He was an aristocrat after all. Perhaps she would be pressured from above, and that's where he would come in handy. He would fight him in a training fight during the entrance exams. He should destroy him completely, so that everyone around would see his incompetence. MC thought she wanted him to stop him. He replied that he understood, so if he did this, she would stop inviting him to the knightly order? She answered positively and said that she was counting on him. Silver was leaving the gate and thought, he was given a difficult job. Bardley does not appear in the main plot. If he ends up in the order and behaves somehow strangely, it can affect the script. Information needs to be collected in any case, because he can become too unpredictable. MC thought, and also contact with the main character should be kept to a minimum. He will never repeat such a mistake again. Silver turned around because someone tapped him on the shoulder. Charles was standing behind him. She called him. MC was very surprised and said that as soon as he said this, he immediately met Charles. She asked him, did he not want to see her? He awkwardly replied in the negative negative and said he was glad. She told him that he saved her that day and then ran away. She was looking for him all the time. He scratched the back of his head and said awkwardly, but the circumstances were complicated. He asked her for forgiveness and said he left without saying a word. Charles thought for a moment and said that she understood. By the way, how did he know her name? Silver was taken aback. He told her that her name was, oh yeah, he had seen the list of participants when he was in charge of security at a social event. She asked him if it was true. MC thought he had just lied to Charles. He feels a lot of guilt. She said that she understood. He could drop the politeness. Silver said, but it was somehow. He didn't say anything further because Charles made a very sweet face. He agreed with her. She said, and anyway, she wanted to thank him. He asked, thank him. He was just doing his duty. She said, but she still wants to do it. She's ready to help with work or anything. On one hand, there was the plot, and on the other, there was the desire that outweighed it. He thought that fulfilling the wishes of his favorite character was the duty of an otaku. He agreed with her and said that he was planning to investigate. Could she help him? Entertainment District. The Bardley family is one of the most influential aristocratic families in the country. They made huge donations to the royal family, earning a high status, but there are many bad rumors about them. They are said to be involved in illegal trade. It is convenient to dig under such famous figures because obtaining information about them is easy. MC and Charles were walking around the city. Charles looked at him awkwardly. Silver thought, according to the witness, it is somewhere around here. He asked her, what is it? She looked at the sign and said, where did he take her? MC, shocked, told her that it was a misunderstanding. Charles laughed and said that she was joking. She hoped that Braja would be found quickly. He thought, they say this rich kid spends his parents' money every night hanging out in the entertainment district. But which bar is he at? Although they found out that he's usually around here, maybe it's too early. MC's stomach made a noise. He thought he was embarrassed to make such noises in front of his waifu. He apologized to her and asked if they could get something to eat somewhere. Wasn't she hungry? She replied that she actually wanted something to eat too. Silver said that was good. Then they should look for a suitable place. Charles pointed and said, it smells really delicious over there. They should go there. Charles was devouring a burger. He thought, even though he knew it from the plot, it was surprising that the local aristocrats ate hamburgers. Charles said, upset, that the filling fell out again. That always upsets her. MC replied that it was inevitable. Charles has small hands and a small mouth. She thought for a moment and then said, but she wouldn't mind eating it like a bun. MC thought he understood. Is this her way of eating hamburgers? How cute. He'll be overjoyed. She thanked him for the delicious food and asked where they were going next. He replied that it was already late and the entertainment district wasn't safe at night, so he'd go alone. Someone knocked loudly on the door and asked if there were any free seats on the second floor. The customers started whispering, that guy again. He'd recently caused a scene and was simply throwing glasses because they were taking a long time to bring his food. And he's always hitting on the girls. All the seats are taken now. He loudly asked if there were any free seats. Not even for Mr. Bardley Brajo? Is this a joke? If the seats are occupied, they should vacate them. Does he know who owns this place? He apologized. Charles called MC and asked if it was him. Silver replied positively and said that he really was quite the jerk. Bardley approached the girl and said that she was a useless fool. Okay, they should go somewhere else. He noticed Charles, who was sitting at the table. He said, what kind of people? Was it really her, Charles? Charles answered him. Did they know each other? Bardley told her that she shouldn't be so cold. They had recently met at a social event. Charles pretended to be thoughtful and replied that she didn't remember. Bardley got furious and asked if she didn't remember him. In that case, he'll make her remember. MC looked at him with a smile. He told her that she was famous for her beauty, even in social circles. He would like to get to know her better. How about sitting in an expensive restaurant? Charles stood up and answered him. Is that so? She's not interested. Silver thought, this idiot dares to pester her so openly. He will not forgive him. Bardley said that he would treat her to the best food and wine. She replied that it was too early for her to drink alcohol. He continued, then how about juice from the freshest fruits? She answered him. She said that she was not interested in it. Bardley got angry and said who she thought she was. He did not have time to finish because he noticed MC. He pointed his finger at him and asked, is this her bodyguard? She answered what? She did not have time to finish because MC interrupted her and said, that's right, he is Lady Charles Orland's bodyguard. He thought that this way it would look less suspicious, and he could confidently protect her. He winked at her. She noticed this and said, that's right, he is her bodyguard. Bardley laughed and asked, is this guy her bodyguard? How can the owner of such an ordinary face be an aristocrat's bodyguard? MC thought, maybe he should cut off his head? Bardley asked, are they short-staffed in their house? He bowed and said he could lend her his bodyguard if she wanted. Silver thought, because of him, Charles became the butt of ridicule. Bardley pointed to his guards and told her to look at his guards. Elite former holy knights hired by the Bardley family. Aren't they the perfect bodyguards? MC thought, did former holy knights really become guards? They were bought with money. How sad. Charles stood up and turned to MC. She said they needed to go. Bardley laughed really hard and said he hoped she would get home safely with such a weak guard. Charles told him, what a mistake. She turned to him and said that his guards were no match to him at all. They left the room, and she apologized to him. They started laughing at him, so she lost her temper a little. Silver replied that the fact that she was angry because of him was simply happiness for a true otaku. But perhaps it was even better this way. She didn't quite understand him. MC asked, did they want something from him? His guards approached and said, that's right. They wanted to check this young lady's words. Silver thought this was the perfect moment to find out if his character had any influence on the scenario. This was an opportunity to gain information. He turned to her and then answered. He agreed. They answered. Now that's different. There were sounds of a struggle. MC said, so, could they please tell us about Brajo's dark deeds? The guards lay beaten. They said they would tell him everything, but he shouldn't be angry. Silver said, trafficking, extortion, and violence. He's a real jerk. He glared at them. They said, that's not all. The guard said, once Mr. Brajo passes the entrance exams and becomes a member of the Knightly Order, he plans to exploit the commander's weaknesses to control the organization as he sees fit. MC thought, what about taking over the Knightly Order? If that happens, people's lives will be at risk and the whole country will start to rot. He must do everything to stop it, even if it doesn't fit the script. Silver said that no one will know that they lost, so they need to keep their mouths shut. They need to go and tell the master that they crushed him completely. Charles called him and asked how he became so strong. He even defeated a demon with ease. An ordinary guard couldn't do something like that. MC said that he trained for many years alone in the mountains. That's the whole secret. Charles asked, in the mountains? Silver said, in a place full of monsters. He went through hell every day, but it made him stronger. Charles asked if she could do the same. Could she become stronger? MC told her that she didn't need such crude methods. She could become stronger without it. She should believe him. She told him that if he said so, then fine. It seemed she was hungry again. Silver asked her if she wanted to eat somewhere else. She asked him if he was treating her. MC happily answered yes, and said that sponsoring his idol was every otaku's duty. Charles didn't understand him. The day of the exam to join the Knightly Order, he said that they would begin the entrance examinations for course 127. The first examination was a mock battle. They would hold a draw for one-on-one fights. The winner would be able to move on to the second stage. Silver thought that he had to stop the takeover of the Knightly Order at any cost. Bardley asked him if he was that incompetent security guard. MC greeted him and said that he didn't think he would see him in such a place. Bardley said that he should have said that. The guards told him that he wouldn't act up anymore, but he looks quite healthy. Silver told him that he went to church and got medicine to recover, but it cost him a pretty penny. Bardley answered him arrogantly, and now he should look at him. The armor is of the highest quality, made using rare orichalcum. Spending that kind of money on a simple recovery potion is already the sign of a pauper. He called them and said that they need to come and go to the center of the training ground. Bardley asked, is that really? Is he his opponent? Today is not his day. MC simply agreed with him. Bardley called the examiner and asked what would happen if he accidentally kills his opponent. The examiner replied that he will be disqualified. Bardley cursed and said, his luck. He replied that this was very convenient. Bardley smiled and said, well, then they should begin. He drew his sword and went to attack MC. MC was already ready to parry his attack. He knocked the sword out of his hands. Bardley screamed and asked, what the hell? Silver told him that he simply couldn't hold on to it. It happens. Bardley agreed with him and said, that's exactly it. He only survived because he dropped the sword. That doesn't count. MC said, maybe. He thought it was such a hassle. If he hit, he would die, but if he hit weaker, the blade would be blocked by the armor. Bardley shouted at him, is he not going to attack? Silver thought about it and answered him, but how about attacking like at the very beginning? Bardley answered him that the first blow would be his. Very well, he would give him a chance. MC thought his hand was going numb, so he couldn't use the sword properly. Then he said, then he would gladly accept his offer. MC attacked him with a quick movement. The blow caused Bardley to fall backwards. Silver said, it seemed he tripped. Bardley agreed with him and said that he simply lost his balance. He scoffed and said that luck seemed to be on his side since he was still alive, but he shouldn't flatter himself. He hasn't really shown what he's capable of yet. MC asked him, is that so? He thought about it. He didn't want to do this, but it seemed like he'd have to end the fight quickly in that case. Silver used a skill, mana enhancement. Mana is energy emanating from the mind. If he coats his body with it, it can become as strong as steel. By channeling it into something less, he gains power capable of easily breaking even iron. However, most people are unaware of mana and die unaware of their potential. To become a hero, one must freely control mana. Demons have bodies that are much more durable than humans. In their normal state, they are invincible. MC asked him, isn't this armor made of orichalcum? He pointed at his armor. Bardley asked him, so what? Bardley wondered if his aura had changed. Where was this pressure coming from? Silver confidently walked towards him. Bardley asked, what is he doing? MC asked him again, what is he doing? He's attacking. If he doesn't attack, how will they find out who won? Bardley asked him in fear, is he going to kill him? He screamed and said that he understood. He was hired by that dirty aristocrat, right? Silver asked in shock, what was he talking about, Charles? A white light was emitting from his sword. Bardley thought, what happened to this guy? It was like he had changed. He thought, those eyes, he really wants to kill him. He said, that's right, they should do it. He should hire him at his expense. He will have to lose, but he will give him more money than that fool. MC continued walking towards him and asked, is he ready? He asked in fear, is it really because of this girl? Silver thought, he doesn't need to move if he wants to live. MC was very angry. Bardley was very scared and said, he can find him a better woman. So, he didn't have time to finish because MC interrupted him. He told him to shut up. He should never say her name again. Silver swung his arm at him with an evil glare. Zalencia's sword technique, white waterfall. MC attacked him. His armor split in half. He exclaimed, "Oh no, his armor is made of orichalcum." Silver said that he supposes this means he surrenders. He replied that he surrenders. MC thought, his mission is accomplished, he only has to report to Elda. The knight said that Silver is the winner. Elda sat and watched all this. She smiled. Silver thought that this is not a good sign. It seems he has become too conspicuous. Elda told him that thanks to him, she managed to prevent Brajo from joining them. He should let her express her gratitude once again. And yes, these atrocities are unforgivable. She will collect evidence and will definitely send him to prison. MC said that he is counting on her. He thought that he must answer for insulting Charles. Elda said, by the way, about the promise, he could have made it so that he failed the exam. She would make sure not to recruit him into the order again. Silver thanked her and thought, now he can return to a quiet life. Elda asked him, is he so reluctant to join them? MC happily agreed with her. Elda was very upset. She almost cried and asked him if it was true. Silver answered that it was true. She burst into tears and loudly asked why. She wanted him to stay by her side. He should serve as a knight under her. MC asked, what's going on? This is not what they agreed on. She burst into tears and said, that's right. For him it's just a job. Silver thought he couldn't believe that the events with the capricious Elda were happening right now. He offered to take her a handkerchief. She, continuing to cry, said that she didn't know what to think. She would wash it and return it. She told him he should continue to do a good job as a guard. She was very upset. MC was in shock as he left. As he passed the guards, he heard them say, is this the guy they're talking about? He replied, his face completely nondescript. Silver thought he'd have to keep a low profile for a while. A guard asked, did he hear that? Demons were attacking them again. He asked if it was true. It was the third time this month. MC heard what they were saying and thought, devils again. The main plot is about to begin. Maybe that was the reason. He sat down to rest and, exhaling, thought that it wasn't a good time to attract attention. He hoped it wouldn't affect the plot, but if it did, he was sure Alan would be able to bring everything to a happy ending. That's how it should be. Silver saw something in the reflection of his sword. He looked back. Someone landed from above. He thought, this can't be happening. Kaguya appeared before him and said that she had finally found him. The highest class hero, Kaguya. He saw it and said, it's Kaguya-sama. What's a top class hero doing here? She's so beautiful. She turned around and said she was looking for him. She glanced at MC just as he was about to slip away. He thought his connection with the main characters should be minimal. She intercepted him and asked, is he going to leave his beloved wife? MC thought, someone should save him. Kaguya. She's also one of the heroines who can be conquered. She's also the only hero to have earned the title of top-class hero. She specializes in gravity magic, and with a smile, terrifies even the most powerful 4th-level demons, humanity's trump card. He thought she could be called the strongest, but like Elda, she's the only one who knows what he's capable of. For some reason, after learning of his abilities, she began pursuing him, even though her betrothed was supposed to be Elaine. Kaguya said that fate had brought them together here. She was very inspired. Silver said he'd heard there were a lot of demons in the area lately. Why didn't she focus on her work as a hero? Turning upside down, she said, really, but she wasn't interested. Being with him was much more tempting. He asked her if this was normal for a top-class hero. She happily replied that she was his wife, so it was perfectly normal. He told her, but they weren't even married. Lost in her thoughts, she asked when he wanted to get married. MC thought they were misunderstanding each other, although it was certainly tempting. She looked at him and said, she found a nice cafe where they can have a cup of tea. She dragged him along. He said, was she even listening to him? The headquarters of the Holy Knights. Elda thought, demons. The knights couldn't catch them again. She cursed and said that in a situation like this, if only Silver were here. She walked to the window, and an idea struck her. She spun around, seeing the piece of paper. She sat back down and thought, he's a strange guy, but she's sure he could solve even the most difficult problem. He shouted that the hero was dead, his body. She thought it was the worst report she'd ever heard on the battlefield. No wonder it happened, considering their numbers. She turned around and shouted for everyone to retreat. She'd buy time. She thought the heroine had already been summoned, and her task was to minimize the damage the demons did. She didn't know how long she could hold out with such a wound. There was still time before Kaguya arrived. In the meantime, she had to reduce their numbers. She could defeat first-level demons even while wounded. But what if second-level demons showed up here? She looked back and dodged his attack just in time. She glared at it and told it not to expect to defeat her so easily. She charged and shouted that it had to get what it deserved. The demon dodged her attack and looked at her with a smile. She thought there was someone else left. The demon headed towards them. She shouted that she wouldn't allow it. The demon headed towards the knights. Among the frightened knights, there was one man who looked straight at the demon. He wasn't wearing the shiny knight's armor. Only armor made of leather and tarnished steel. He said it wasn't time for the main story yet. She told him he had to run. He charged into battle with the demon. He said, so it doesn't count. He attacked the demon. He muttered something incomprehensible and swung his sword. Then she saw the most beautiful sword technique. Since then, she continues to persuade him to join the knightly squad. Although he claims otherwise, his strength is undeniable. She grabbed his clothes and thought that she felt that he appeared to protect this world. The next day, the knight saw her and said she came here in person. She asked him what the situation was. He replied, a double murder, apparently the work of a cunning demon, with almost no traces left. Perhaps they should call the heroes? She replied that a request had already been submitted, but they still hadn't identified the target. So they needed to focus on the investigation. He needed to continue his report. He continued, this demon only targeted girls. There were bite marks and blood. and if there were no other clues, it was most likely level 3 or higher. She, shocked, said that this was bad. The dead bodies of girls lay on the floor. She cursed. The knight called her. She said they needed to pay attention. All knights and soldiers. They needed to put the order on high alert immediately. The research team needed to expand the search area. They needed to inform the other knights, and they needed to call Guard Silver to headquarters as well. The protagonist and Kaguya walked down the corridor. She called him dear and told him it was their first time working together, and she was looking forward to it. Silver was embarrassed and told her not to call him that. He thought she had been pestering him since yesterday, and now this matter. What a pain in the ass. A few hours ago, he asked her, a vampire? Elda answered positively and said that's the name of a subspecies of demon involved in the recent murders. There were 2 victims, their corpses completely drained of blood, judging by the bite marks on their necks. She didn't finish because MC and his wife came into her office. She asked why she was there. Kaguya replied that it didn't matter where she was or what she was doing. It was none of her business. Elda was shocked and told her to get away from him. Kaguya replied that she was just holding his hand. Elda yelled at her to stop. They were having a serious conversation. Kaguya said the knight commander was so strict. She said they needed to get back to business. The killer is most likely a demon that evolved from a bloodsucker bat. Since they can't track it, it's likely capable of assuming human form. They assume it's most likely a 3rd-tier demon or higher. MC thought, 3rd tier? Even 10 experienced knights couldn't defeat something like that. She turned to MC and said, that's where he'd come in handy. He replied that he was usually a gate guard, so she cut him off and said they were short-handed, he could act alone, he just needed to participate in the investigation. Silver asked, by himself? She asked him what that suspicious look was. He replied, well, he wanted to ask first, did she have any ulterior motives? Elda became worried, and she responded positively and said that if he played an active role in this matter, his reputation wouldn't improve at all, and it wouldn't make it any easier to recruit him into the order. MC wondered if she couldn't lie. The investigation was already underway, so that meant it was an order. He thought about it and replied that he would handle it. Kaguya said that if he agreed, she was in on it too. Elda was very unhappy about this, asking, what? She needed to wait, otherwise it would interfere with her plan. She replied that she didn't care. She just wanted to be with the protagonist. Elda replied that she understood. The more people, the better. Anyway, they needed to attend the investigation meeting to get the hang of it. They headed to the meeting. Silver knocked on the door, and he entered and apologized. He wondered who this guy was. The knight asked if he wasn't just a regular guard. He replied that they needed to wait, right? He looked at Kaguya and wondered, why would a high-ranking heroine follow a lowly soldier? It seemed like Commander Elda had sent them. Kaguya approached the table and asked if she could take the seat. The knight replied that she could. She thanked him. She laughed and said they definitely stood out. MC said, especially her. The knight said, and so it looks like everyone is here. They're starting a meeting to investigate the vampire incident. He said, first of all, they need to get to the bottom of the current situation. The victims were 2 women in their 20s. He said their bodies were found in the south of the royal capital. Silver thought this story wasn't in bras. The knights thought damn demons. MC wondered if the hero puts in the effort, the situation will improve quickly or not. So they'll expand the search area and increase night patrols, but he and Kaguya will be in charge of the East Gate. Fine, that's what they'll do. He called out to Kaguya, but she didn't answer. He wondered if she'd overslept. That was too much. He felt someone standing behind him, turned around, and asked what. He saw a large knight standing behind him. He asked if he had some business. The man answered, what order did he belong to? Silver replied, actually he's a guardian of the Eastern Gate. The knight said, unite a simple soldier with a top-class hero. What does Commander Elda think? He placed his hand on his chest and said, Miss Kaguya should unite with them, the Second Holy Order. MC thought this guy wanted to steal Elda's glory. He replied, they have no right to make such decisions. The man became angry and asked, what did he say? The matter was too complicated for him, and it was best for him not to interfere with the investigation. Silver stood up and said, actually, the First Holy Order entrusted him with this matter. He didn't have time to finish, as the man hit him and told him to shut up. They are the Second Order of Holy Knights. They don't obey the First Order. The knight told him, maybe not. He didn't have time to finish, as the commander interrupted him and said that he was an idiot. They can't fall behind anymore. He looked at the knights, they were trembling, and said, behind him. The commander was at a loss. He thought it had become too noisy. Kaguya was standing behind him. She asked him what he did to her darling. MC saw her and told her that she needed to calm down. He was fine. Kaguya was about to attack the commander. Silver shouted at her that she needed to wait. She struck the commander. The commander flew back and fell to the floor. Kaguya pointed at him and innocently told him to go away. Kaguya asked that he had the nerve to mock her husband. MC told her they hadn't done anything stupid. She stuck out her tongue and apologized to him. She said she couldn't control herself. Silver asked, is this a grand class hero saying this? They left the hall. She told him that patrolling at night was so romantic. MC told her not to use magic so suddenly again, otherwise she would give him a heart attack. She told him that the man had simply raised his hand against him. Naturally, she had tried to protect her husband. Silver told her that everything should be in moderation, although she really did save him. She happily asked him, if she protected him, then where is her praise? She continued, judging by his eyes, he had doubts. She wasn't lying when she said she loved him. She liked the way he cared for others, and it was fun to tease him. She was also drawn to his hidden strength. Someday, she wanted to see what he was capable of. MC said it wouldn't happen again. She chuckled and said they'd see. Power always comes with responsibility. Silver asked again, responsibility? What kind of word was that? She soared into the sky and said, look, the moon was amazingly beautiful tonight. MC looked at her in awe. She asked him if he thought so. Silver agreed and said that indeed. But why the sudden change? She asked him, what if she told him she was born on the moon? No, would he believe it? MC frowned and thought, he knows who Kaguya really is. She was chosen as a subject for top secret government experiments to harvest moon magic. Moon magic made little Kaguya the most powerful. He answered yes, he would believe it. She was a little surprised and said that he answered without a shred of doubt. She thanked him. Silver said that after all, isn't it bad to believe that Kaguya comes from the moon? It's so romantic, isn't it? She looked embarrassed and said, romantic, huh? MC looked at her, surprised, and said, she's so rarely embarrassed. Kaguya awkwardly replied that he should stop torturing his wife, or was this what they called emotional abuse? Silver replied that they were married, and she didn't understand the terminology. Suddenly, he smelled something and wondered what that stench was. He called out to his wife. She answered positively. Some sounds were heard, and MC and his wife headed in their direction. Kaguya told him that she knew what the smell was. MC was surprised. He thought it was a foul stench coming from a demon. They saw the demon attack someone. Silver shouted at him to let her go. The demon pulled away from her a little. Silver rushed to attack. MC swung his sword and was about to strike the demon, but the demon sharply dodged. Silver cursed. He looked at the girl and ran up to her. He asked her if she was okay. He thought, thank goodness she was still breathing. He told Kaguya to take her to the hospital while he chased her. She agreed with him and asked, but was he sure he could handle it? MC answered positively. She shouldn't worry. He used the magic enhancement skill. A white light appeared around MC. He chased after the demon. Upon seeing it, he said, here it is. He won't let it escape. Silver rushed in pursuit of the demon. MC noticed something approaching and assumed a defensive posture. He thought, blood-sucking bats? This demon can control his subordinates? Silver fought off the bats, he cursed. He thought this was starting to irritate him. The Zalencia's sword technique. MC used the surprise thrust technique. He broke through the bats and attacked the demon. He said he was caught. The demon looked at him and released more bats. Silver didn't expect this. He cursed and said how annoying it was. He yelled at the demon to stop. He thought, if it came to this, MC threw his sword at the demon and said that he should have it. The demon saw this and dodged his attack. It flew towards the moon. Silver said, and yet it managed to escape. MC thought, hospital. Kaguya asked, wow, he came back empty-handed? Silver apologized and said that he missed him. What about the victim? She replied that the blood restoration had worked, so she was saved. MC replied warily, I see. Well, at least that's it. He thought, maybe he shouldn't have chased after him alone. Kaguya told him not to worry. Even if he lost this demon, no one could catch him. By the way, that thing in his hand could serve as a clue. Silver responded positively and said that next time he would definitely catch him. Kaguya laughed and said that he had become so enthusiastic so quickly. Wasn't it cute? MC awkwardly told her that she should stop. He thought that this was enough to alert the demon, and over the next 2 days the search yielded no results. But the hungry vampire would surely try to commit another crime, so they needed to catch him quickly. The only clue was a piece of cloth with the demon's blood. Kaguya looked at him with a loving gaze. Silver thought it was time to go all in. He told her to check the scent. Recently she said that she could recognize the scent of demons. Why doesn't she try to find him by scent? Kaguya was a little surprised and asked what. He told her that she must have a very sensitive sense of smell. She should help him. She answered positively and said that she was very sensitive to the scent of demons, but still not good enough to follow their scent. Does she look like a dog? MC replied, upset. That could have been the perfect plan. She said, but if he ordered, she could become either a dog or a cat. Her darling's wish was the law. That was exactly the role of a wife. She pretended to be a cat. Silver was surprised. Kaguya told him that she could undress and lick his feet. MC told her that she needed to stop, but he apologized. Charles called MC. He turned around and asked what she was doing here. She replied that she was looking for him. She got the highest score on the written exam at the academy. She thought he would praise her a little. Silver happily said how cool it was. Charles laughed and replied, indeed. Kaguya watched them from the side and said that he needed to listen. Who was this girl? She was very pleased. He thought, oh shit, now she's fired up with a competitive spirit. Charles approached her and said that she was MC's friend. Her name was Charles. Kaguya said, friend, huh? Her name is Kaguya. Charles asked, what, that top-class heroine? Kaguya asked her, so she knows her? Charles answered positively and said that she knows her. After all, she's a student at the Hero Academy. MC thought how smart she is. For hero candidates, Kaguya is like a deity, but Charles remained calm. In the story, the two did not speak directly. Kaguya said with a smile that she thinks she has great potential. Silver thought he had witnessed an exclusive event. Charles replied that it was a great honor to hear such words from Kaguya. She said, well then. Charles asked, what kind of relationship do they have? MC wondered if Charles also feels a spirit of competition. Kaguya replied that she is his wife, gentle and refined, the most beautiful wife in the world. Charles was surprised. She asked, wife, is MC married? Silver thought, is Charles jealous too? Why? He's happy, but he needs to clarify the situation. He said she chose to call her that. They're actually friends, and it's most likely a business relationship. Charles asked, business? MC asked, where should he start? Basically, it has to do with a recent introduction. Kaguya said they patrol the streets together. Charles said she realized rumors of the vampire had already reached the academy. She could help them too. Kaguya called her Silver's friend and asked, how so? Charles asked, why emphasize the word friend? She really could be of use to them. She clasped her hands together and said that his master is summoning him. He needed to appear. Oh, Fenrir Wolf. A white light appeared. Kaguya asked, "Summoning magic? How interesting." Charles said that her magic was based on the spirits she had made a contract with. They could be summoned at any time. This little one was a Fenrir wolf spirit. The wolf licked her face. She said his name was Rear. Silver said, "What a cute name." He thought, spirit magic is useful in both combat and research. A versatile skill with immense power. Rear made a sound. MC was surprised. Charles said in surprise, "Wow, he usually doesn't show interest in other people." Silver thought Rear was a spirit that had been with Charles since childhood. Oh yeah, even Alan couldn't touch him. That was only possible if Charles's affection level reached the maximum. MC petted him. He thought he was cute. Kaguya said, "What a cute dog." Did she ask for permission to pet his tummy? However, the wolf growled at her. Kaguya said he was refusing her. What a rude dog. Charles said it was normal. It was just Silver who was an exception. Rear could distinguish the scents of demons and track them. If there was a clue, he would easily pick up their trail. Silver handed her things with the scent of a demon and said that he should try to track the scent of this fabric. Charles asked him for help. Rear made a sound and then, sniffing the fabric, smelled something. She asked if he found something. The wolf made a sound, as if answering her. MC said that was good. He turned to the girls. They responded positively. He said they should follow the trail. They came to some wooden house. Rear made a sound again. Charles asked him if that scent led here. Kaguya asked what next. Should they break in together? Silver answered negatively and said that only he and Charles would go inside. It would be better if she waited outside. Kaguya became upset and asked if they were sure they could handle it together. He knew what she meant, right? They had missed him yesterday for the same reason. MC agreed with her and said that was exactly why he wanted her to stay outside. Silver thought that Rear and Charles should definitely go inside, and they needed someone to guard the outside. He said that her abilities attracted a lot of attention, and it was not very convenient to fight indoors, was it? She became embarrassed and told him that he knew her well. She was very pleased. Had he really fallen in love? MC replied in surprise that he had not said that. Kaguya replied that she would follow the instructions in gratitude for his love. She found herself high above the ground again. She told him not to worry. Not a fly would fly past her. Silver turned to Charles and said that he would like Rear to go ahead. Rear made a sound as if agreeing with him. MC said that he could be counted on. He turned to Charles and told her to stick behind him. He asked, "Well, should they go?" They went inside. Rear jumped forward and Charles, without expecting it, shuddered all over. She apologized and said that she was a little scared. Silver was very surprised. He thought that Charles was still a student at the Hero Academy. No wonder she was worried. But his favorite heroine is so close. Is this really a dream? Rear growled at someone in front of him. MC asked him what happened. Rear pointed to the door in front of them. Silver asked him, "Is it here?" He told Charles and Rear that they need to move back. Charles agreed with him. MC abruptly opened the door. He saw a demon in front of him. The demon was very scared of him. Silver thought that judging by the cloak, it was definitely him. MC and the demon started fighting. Silver thought, is it some strange feeling, or is he imagining it? The demon pounced on MC. MC thought that he needs to deal with him quickly. Zelentia's sword technique. Silver attacked the demon. He used the Ascension Blade skill. The demon was cut into pieces and fell to the floor. MC thought, is that it? He didn't think he would be so weak. Charles looked in and asked, is it over? Silver answered positively. Charles came closer to him and said, an amazing blow. MC became embarrassed and said, not really. Some sounds were heard from behind. She asked him, did he hear it? Silver answered positively and said, there's some noise, he should check. She pointed and said, over there. They headed towards the sounds. They opened the door and saw tied up girls. MC asked, what's going on here? Elda thanked MC and said he had done a good job. He had defeated the vampire and saved the captives. Nothing less was expected. Kaguya told her, actually, she was here too. Elda looked at her and replied, she had done a good job too. Kaguya thanked her. Elda said she would inform High Command that Kaguya, Charles, and Gatekeeper Silver had successfully resolved the incident. Silver told her to wait. She asked him, what's wrong? He continued. He asked her not to talk about it. He didn't want to attract attention. She asked him, what's wrong with that? If his accomplishments were known, it would give her another reason to recruit him into the knightly order. MC shouted at her that this should never happen. She had said she would refuse recruitment. She put on an innocent face and asked, did she really say that? He told her that she had. She paused and said that they needed to get to the body now. They would thank them generously for their help. Silver was shocked, thinking that he'd been hoping to finally be free of Elda's persistent recruitment. She handed him a bag and said it was a reward for destroying the demons and rescuing the hostages. MC took the bag and said, by the way, what happened to the women they rescued? Elda replied that they were fine. It looked like they'd been captured only recently. There were no serious wounds, so they'd recover quickly. Perhaps he was planning to use them as food supplies. Silver paused, wondering if that was what was worrying him. Food supplies? He didn't think this vampire would be smart enough to come up with something like that. If he went to the church, he could find out detailed information about vampires. He should go there sometime. Elda called him over. Kaguya asked him if something was wrong. MC awkwardly replied that nothing special. Elda replied, is that so? He must be tired. He can go. Silver exhaled. Kaguya approached him and asked if something was bothering him. He asked her how she had guessed so well. She replied that it was easy, since she knew her husband. He told her that she was right, something was bothering him. She thought about it and asked what it was. MC replied that it was just a hunch. He hadn't figured it out yet either. Kaguya laughed and replied that he was so charming when he was thinking, just like a detective. He exhaled and told her not to tease him. She called him a cute detective and replied that she hoped he would find the answer. Since the case was closed, she was returning to the moon bath to restore her mana. Silver apologized for dragging her around for several days. She replied that it was nothing, since she was the one who asked him. MC agreed with her and said that he hadn't divided the reward yet, since there were 3 of them. It turned out he didn't have time to finish because she interrupted him and said that she didn't need his measly pennies. Silver thought that he would never have thought that someone would call such a state pennies. Kaguya smiled and told him that it was enough for her that she was able to spend this time with him. Silver awkwardly replied that she shouldn't say things like that to his face. She laughed and asked him if he was embarrassed. She took off and said goodbye to him. He asked her if she still hadn't learned how to use the door. She smiled and replied that he shouldn't cheat on her, okay? MC asked again, cheat? Kaguya flew into the sky. Silver left the building and apologized to her for being late. Charles was waiting for him at the entrance. She replied that everything was fine. She asked where Kaguya was. He replied that she said she had business and flew away. Charles replied that she understood. Silver said, but first of all, he thanked her. Thanks to her, they were able to solve this case. Charles replied that he didn't need to thank her. It was her interest in it too. MC thought that Charles had undoubtedly made a great contribution to this case, which would definitely be reflected in her performance at the Hero Academy. He told her that he was still grateful to her. Charles became embarrassed. MC thought that it was enough for him to see her face. This was the highest reward he could dream of. He remembered the bag and asked about the reward. Charles replied that she didn't need anything. Silver was surprised. He asked why. She told him that her only merit was that she found the demon. She couldn't receive the reward until she became a real hero and could defeat demons with her powers. Silver called her. He thought how noble. No wonder she was his favorite. She said yes, but in return she wanted something else. MC happily replied that she should rely on him. He'd buy anything for her. She sheepishly replied that, unfortunately, it wasn't something money could buy. MC was perplexed. She said she only wanted one thing, to spend time with Silver. MC was worried about what to wear. He couldn't decide on clothes. Was he really going on a date with his beloved Charles? He remembered how she told him that she only wanted one thing, to spend time with him. The knight called him and asked if they should go to lunch. He knocked on his door. Silver thought, this is probably the safest option. MC quickly ran out, slamming the door on the knight. He shouted that he didn't have time. While he was running, he told him to forgive him. He had a date today, maybe another time. The knight thought, a date, then okay. Suddenly he thought, what? A date? A square with a fountain. MC thought that he was too nervous. He tried to catch his breath because he ran so fast. He thought that before reincarnation, he had no experience of dating. What should he talk to her about? He was an office plankton. He greeted her and said that the weather was beautiful today. He thought it was wrong, too banal. She apologized to him for making him wait. Silver was simply shocked. He shouted that it was nothing. He looked at her with loving eyes. She was wearing a very beautiful dress. She wished him good morning. She asked him why he was crying. Silver apologized to her. He was just too happy. He thought that he could see his beloved Charles in casual clothes. She became embarrassed and said that he should stop. He was so weird. MC clenched his fist and thought that now he had nothing more to regret, so he could die in peace. She asked him what it was. His soul was leaving his body. Just a little more, and he would really ascend to heaven. He apologized to her for scaring her. He wished her good morning again. She laughed and wished him good morning too. He asked her what she wanted to do. She answered him, could he help her with her shopping? And it seemed like a new cafe had opened. She turned and ran. He replied that he understood her. He would go to the ends of the earth with her. They were happy. They were having a really nice time, smiling all the time while they went shopping. MC carried all the bags with her purchases. Then they decided to go to a cafe and have a cup of coffee. He asked her why she decided to invite him. She replied that she just wanted to talk to him alone. Well, actually, something had been bothering her lately and she wanted to ask for advice. He asked what the problem was. She replied that at the Hero Academy they study in groups, but their leader, Alain, has been cooing and making out with the other members every day lately. She feels out of place. Silver thought, a typical MC problem? He replied, so they are dating? She answered awkwardly, probably. But at the same time, he invites her too, which is very stressful. MC wondered if this world's Alon was trying to build a harem. He thought the game's damn route was incredibly complicated. To succeed, he needed to raise all the heroines' affection levels evenly and complete all the confession events at the same time. Otherwise, it wouldn't work. So if he started dating someone midway through, it would be a failure. Everyone would reject him. Now, Charles's affection level for Alon was dropping, and he wondered what he would do. She replied that she trusted him as a teammate, but she didn't like being flirted with while already in a relationship. Alon often asked her out, but she declined. And yet, he didn't give up. Silver replied that he understood. It was hard for her. He silently apologized to her and thought about how he'd played this harem route many times before reincarnation. She answered sheepishly, besides, she already had. She didn't finish, and MC was confused. She replied that it didn't matter. He should forget about it. MC suddenly thought, what? Now he's intrigued. She replied that there are secrets she can't tell even him. A girl's heart is a complicated thing. He leaned back and said, oh well. Suddenly he realized something and said, it can't be. She asked him what happened. She saw someone behind him. He said, is it really her? The heroine candidate, Lena Cassius. The protagonist, Bress. Alon, the heroine candidate, Margaret Narfis. Alon said, what a surprise. He didn't expect to meet her here. Charles asked them what they were doing here. They replied that they were on a date. Lena told her, by the way, they invited her along. Silver didn't answer anything. He thought he understood. So Alan was dating these two. Lena and Margaret are heroines who are quite easy to win even in the main game. They actively support Alan's harem and try to expand it. It's difficult to change the composition of the team once it's already formed, so it's no wonder Charles feels awkward in such a situation. Alan asked her, "Who is that guy next to her?" MC introduced himself. His name is Silver. He's usually a guard. Charles replied that they were also on a date. Silver was surprised that she said that. The guys were surprised too. They asked, "Really?" Alan looked at him again and asked, "What does that mean?" MC thought he should calm down. He was losing control of his magic. Alan asked furiously, "Did she turn him down for a date with that mediocre guy?" Charles stood up and angrily replied that he shouldn't say that. It's impolite. Alan was surprised and asked, "What does that mean?" She replied that she'd had enough. They should go somewhere else. She turned to Alan and told him that he shouldn't follow them. Alan asked, "Why is she dating a guy like that?" He seemed to understand. He pointed his finger and shouted that he was a demon. Silver asked, "A demon?" Charles asked in surprise. "What?" Alan said that lately there have been rumors about a demon kidnapping women. Is this his doing? Is he going to kidnap Charles? Lena said, "So that's it?" Now she understands why Charles refused. Margaret agreed with her and said that she thinks this demon brainwashed her. Charles shouted that they should stop. No one is controlling her. Why can't they understand her feelings? MC looked at her. Alan said angrily, he must have cast some kind of strong mental spell on her. He shouted at him to listen to him, calling him a vile demon. He will not allow someone dear to him to be dishonored. Silver was shocked. Alan grabbed her hand and said she shouldn't stay there, they needed to go back. She pulled away and said no. Alan said, "Poor thing. He had no idea that the brainwashing was so strong." She told him that he had gotten it all wrong again. MC wondered if this was the main character he admired. He put the cup of coffee on the table. He had no idea that he had been a stubborn idiot all this time. The coffee cup broke. Everyone turned to look at him. Silver was very angry. He was heading towards him. Alan, frightened, grabbed his sword and asked what he was up to. MC blocked Charles with his hand. He said that he never thought that he was such a thick-headed idiot. At first, he wanted to remain silent, but then he started to let his mouth loose. She called him. He apologized. He just pissed him off. He turned to him and said that he could not trust Charles to a person like him. Alan said that he was taking on too much. He shouldn't ask his permission. It seemed that he would have to take her by force. He took out his sword. Silver replied, "Well, fine." He thought that if it were the Alan he knew, he would definitely understand how Charles was feeling right now. He wasn't going to judge Alan's current playing style. However, there was one thing that couldn't be forgiven. He would rather die than allow a scenario in which Charles couldn't smile. He said he'd have to beat the crap out of him. Charles called out to him. Alan called him a damn demon and said he was too confident. Well, that's fine. He'd cut him to pieces. MC told him not to underestimate crazy nerds. They stood opposite each other, both angry. An evil aura hung around them, and their bodies were covered in white light, the training grounds of the Hero Academy. Alan said he couldn't believe he'd chosen this place. Silver took the sword and was surprised. He said no one would bother him here, so he could give it his all. He replied that he shouldn't complain later. Charles called MC and said that it was all her fault. She apologized to him. He told her that she didn't need to apologize, that it was Alan who should apologize. Margaret said that if it came down to it, he would finish with a worthless person like him in a second. Lena agreed with her and told Alan that he should deal with him quickly and they would continue their date. Alan said self-confidently, "Of course." Besides, when this battle was over, Charles would undoubtedly be enchanted by his strength again. She looked at him with displeasure. MC thought, how dare he say such a thing? He would definitely beat him up and make him apologize to her. She called him and said that Alan was stronger than he looked, but she was on his side. Therefore, she really wanted him to win. Silver told her that she could rely on him. Is he ready? Silver replied, anytime. Alan asked if he was satisfied with this shabby gear. Silver replied that for an opponent like him, this gear was quite sufficient. Alan was angry. He rushed to attack and shouted that he was a big talker. MC calmly dodged his attack. Alan thought he dodged. Silver swung for a strike. Alan shouted, "What?" He blocked MC's strike and thought, "Damn, what a strike." Alan jumped back and thought, "What was that? Mana enhancement?" He shouted at him, so he pretended to be a guard on purpose. MC replied that he said he was an ordinary gate guard. There was no need for him to make things up. Silver threw his sword away. Alan asked what he was doing. MC replied that against someone like him, his fists would be enough. Alan shouted at him that he shouldn't push his luck. He rushed to attack him. Silver dodged again and then struck. Alan jumped back again, but MC didn't give up. He shouted at him that he should watch his teeth. Alan shouted, "Damn!" MC hit him with all his might. Lena shouted that this can't be happening. Alan slammed hard into the wall. Lena asked, he was thrown back. Margaret asked, "In one hit?" Alan said, "Damn." Margaret ran to him and said she should show up. The power of healing. Healing. Lena also ran to him and told him he needed to hold on. Silver thought he might have overdone it a bit, but it felt so good. Alan was shocked. Margaret called out to him. He said he had to give Charles back. MC asked, "Give her back," he said, speaking as if she were his property. Alan shouted at him to shut up. They were bound by an unbreakable bond of love. The protagonist felt like he was struck by electricity. He thought about those words. He shouted, "Demon Lord." He swears by his comrades that he will definitely destroy him. The demon said his comrades might already be dead now, and he replied that he doubted it. He could feel their heartbeats. They were still fighting. They are bound by an unbreakable bond of love. They cannot be separated. Silver remembered playing this game in his past life and thinking, what a passionate phrase, he's cool. It's a cliché, but he loves such plots. MC gritted his teeth and shouted at him that he shouldn't use such language in such a situation. He called him a damn womanizer. Alan asked what kind of nonsense he was talking about. He will become a hero, which is why Charles should be by his side. Silver thought, I don't understand this idiot. Alan shouted at her not to worry. He will bring her back soon. She told him that he should listen. She decided that from today on, she will leave his squad. Alan was shocked. MC and the girls were also very surprised. She said that Silver helped her make her final decision. Even without a squad, if she trains hard, she can definitely become a hero. Alan asked what she was talking about. This guy brainwashed her. She shouted at him that he needed to finally hear her. No one was controlling her. Alan said it couldn't be. Their squad was so close. She agreed with him and said she trusted him, but she'd never experienced romantic feelings, so he should accept it. Alan was shocked. He said, no way. He would become her lover and the strongest hero. Just as he thought, it was all because of that guy. He was so angry and shouted, spiritual bond magic, it needs to come. Margaret and Lena were surprised. A white light appeared around them. Alan had taken their mana. Silver thought, spiritual bond magic. It transforms bonds with comrades into a special magical force. The spell's power is determined by the number of comrades nearby and the depth of their bond. Simply put, the more lovers he has, the stronger he becomes. Even by choosing this magic, Alan was forced to make more friends and strengthen the bond. So did that mean his obsession with Charles was only for his own magic? MC said he really was hopeless. Silver thought, as if he were playing the game for the first time. By the way, this reminded him of the old times when he made the wrong choice. He dodged Alan's attack. Charles said, what a huge magical power. He should be more careful. MC thought, right, in the game you can just restart, but in reality there are no replays. He turned around and told her that it was fine. He would get through it quickly. Alan shouted in rage that with this power he would become the strongest hero who would save people. Silver asked him. He shouldn't make him laugh. What kind of hero makes a girl sad? Alan shouted. What does he even understand? To become the strongest, he needs their power. MC replied that he knew. Alan used all his power, he shouted. Silver thought, as a fan of Brez, he couldn't criticize Alan's playstyle. But now he is not just a player. He is a real resident of this world. And if someone appears here who upsets his favorite character, he will have no mercy for them. He used the Zalencia sword technique, Heavenly Sphere. He reflected Alan's attack. A strong explosion occurred, causing Charles to cover her face with her hands. MC said that he should at least try to understand what is on others' minds. Alan said in shock, his spirit link magic. He fell to the ground, upset. Silver exhaled and looked up. He thought that he was disappointed in him. Reeve ran up to them and asked what they were doing here. Alan called her. She asked him what kind of commotion he was causing on the training field, and at the entrance to boot. MC thought, Reeve, who is this? While playing Brez, he never met a character named Reeve. Alan said, well, they just suspect this guy of being a demon. She asked, is he sure this guy is a demon? Elda stood behind them and said, he's not a demon. She guarantees it. Silver was startled. She said, he looks like he's in trouble. She came here because she sensed incredible magic, but she never expected to see him here. MC thought she'd slip that last sentence right out of her mouth. Silver asked, so what is she doing here? Elda replied that she was going to a meeting about the combat practice that would be held at the academy. If anything unexpected happened, the Night Order would immediately intervene. MC replied that he understood. Silver thought that during this practice, the hero candidates would be destroying low-level demons. In the game's main storyline, they were attacked by third-level demons. This was Alan's first real fight. Elda said, still, doesn't he think he's gone a little overboard? Is that how you treat a hero candidate? Mocking the weak? That's not like him at all. Her words hurt Alan. She nudged Silver in the shoulder. Alan looked devastated. Elda asked if he was okay. MC answered, probably. Alan swore and said, he'll get it from him yet. He'll destroy him. Silver said that he spoke more like a villain. Alan started running away from them. She shouted at him that he needed to stop. Elda said that it seemed like he hated him a lot. MC said, well, a lot happened. Charles came up to them from behind and called him. Elda turned around and said, wasn't she Charles by any chance? Charles was surprised and asked how she knew her name. She answered that Silver told her a lot about her. She heard she helped in the case with the vampire. She approached her and asked, so she was also a student at the academy? She answered positively and said that Silver constantly helps her. Elda said that he is the strongest soldier she knows. His presence alone will greatly help her skills. Charles answered positively, smiled and said that she thought so too. Elda laughed and replied admiringly, this girl has a diamond eye. MC felt awkward. Reeve cleared her throat and turned to Elda, apologizing for interrupting their conversation, but she thought they needed to get to a meeting. She apologized and said, well, they'll see each other again. Silver apologized for the trouble he'd caused. Elda yelled at him to stop. It wasn't a problem. She remembered something, turned around and said, yeah, it was a problem. He had to make up for the mess he'd caused. MC was very surprised. She continued, he should take part in the Hero Academy combat practice. He had no right to refuse. Silver looked devastated. He thought, what the hell? He said he shouldn't have been there, so it was his own fault. Charles apologized and said she'd caused so much trouble. He told her not to worry, it was his personal decision. But now she could leave the squad in peace. He was so happy for her.